Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Life with Prostate Cancer. Today it is Wednesday, the 19th of August 2026. I haven't been posting in a long time on this channel. I have been posting on Rumble instead, but there's nothing much happening on Rumble. And a few things has happened over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 months that made me realize that I might just as well continue my journey on YouTube. One of the reasons is that Rumble seems to be blocked actually in various countries around the world, and that means the reach is going to be limited anyway. Another reason is that the journey has now taken a change into what I think YouTube probably like a lot more than what I've done so far, meaning my focus is still on the holistic approach, but it's now being combined with the official treatment system, but more about that in a minute. In addition to that, I have also kind of concluded that while I wanted it to change the channel into another name, Agency for Life, which I believe is a good name anyway, I also realized that, and I wanted to change that because Life with Prostate Cancer is kind of keeping me stuck with a life where I will have prostate cancer forever. And I didn't like that idea. But I've also come to realize that whether I like it or not, that is going to be the truth. To some extent. If I might be what people consider cured, but in my perspective, based on what I have researched and based on what I have found so far, the cure is an illusion. And that is because we all have cancer by definition. It's part of evolution, it's part of the biological evolution where we develop and adapt to our environment. And it's only when it goes out of hand that it becomes an issue. And this means in turn that if you got a diagnosed cancer, well, you kind of have it verified now, but now you got something that is out of control and you got to keep it under control. You got to find a way to do that. And that is not something that stops the moment that the doctor tells you now you are cured, you don't have cancer anymore. Because if you revert back to whatever lifestyle you had before then, you're doomed to have a recurrence, and it's probably going to be with a vengeance, as we see so many times. So the mindset of thinking that you got cancer once diagnosed, you got cancer forever, I think that's the healthy thing, as long as it's not carried with fear. And for me, it's more like a guardian angel. But that was a bit of an explanation as to why I am back here on YouTube, and I will continue to update you here. It is a good day to update. It is exactly, 5 days ago that I crossed my 3-year mark since I got diagnosed with cancer. Not 100% true. It is 14th of August 2023. I got my first PSA coming back with a 124, very heavily indicating that I had cancer. But the diagnosis followed the biopsy that I got in the beginning of November, so it was not until then I got a clearance saying that this was prostate cancer, and it was a Gleason score 5+4, which is 9. And it was not until the end of December 2023 that I had the PSMA PET scan, which finally told that it also had metastasized to lymph node. So that was how the journey kind of started out. Now what has happened lately is, when I started it out, I thought, let's just recap on that. When I started it out, I thought that the 21st of February would be the date 2024 that I would start official treatment if I had not cured myself. This was how optimistic I was about it. This was based on information from Prostate Research Cancer Institute in the US that said that if 2 patients came in and all things equal, one got treated right away and another one got treated 6 months later, the long-term outcome would be the same. Based on that, I thought, okay, I want to use those 6 months to research instead of just jumping on to treatments. But after a few weeks of research, I realized that that statement was based on people with non-metastatic cancer. If it was with metastatic cancer, the timeline was a lot shorter. They estimated 3 months would be the frame, and that's why I said the 21st of February 2024, sorry. But as I got closer to that date, I also realized that there were so many options to work with on the holistic part that I changed my mindset on that and said, okay, I will go into the official treatment system if things goes out of hand, and or I run out of holistic options. And it's been 3 years, and I've been experimenting with a lot of different things, which you can see if you want, looking at my previous videos, but you could also go on Rumble if you want to have a more in-depth insight to it, because there are certain videos that have been deleted on YouTube. But about now in the process, I've also been doing scans. I did an MRI scan initially, and then I did the PSMA PET scan, as I mentioned. About 2 years later, I did another PSMA MRI scan, and the second MRI I did not do with contrast, so the information I had there was fairly limited. The last MRI, I did that about 4 months ago. 4 months ago, I did the last MRI. My blood work in the process is absolutely perfect, spot on. There's no problem there. And if you want to know more about the blood work, go to my website, larsschafer.com. There you will find under my journey all the blood works, all the scans, everything I have. I share it publicly. But the blood work seemed very good. I mean, I corrected all the numbers that it was not good, and every time there was a fluctuation, I could correct that fluctuation to the right direction again, and that was all good. But my MRI told a different story. The first MRI said that I had a cancer in one side, almost filling out the whole prostate, and the other side of the gland, it was about 50%. On the second one, it seems to have filled out more or less the whole gland, both sides. And the third one, done 4 months ago, showed that it is filled out the prostate 100%, and it has exceeded the gland by about 1 centimeter. So despite all the blood numbers being good, despite me feeling good, then things has escalated beyond what my blood numbers tells me, so I had to take action. And I kind of ran out of options in terms of the holistic manners that I trusted to that extent that I would continue doing that. So the 1st of May, June, July, 1st of May, I started out with bicalutamide. Bicalutamide is a drug that doesn't work. Normally it is taken along with androgen deprivation therapy, because when you're getting the androgen deprivation therapy, what happens is they get the testosterone production in overgear, and that flare up of testosterone, in order to mitigate that, they give you bicalutamide, because bicalutamide works by blocking the androgen receptors. So that extra testosterone that circulates will be blocked by the androgen receptors, so that the cancer cannot make use of it. But bicalutamide is also used as a monotherapy at 150 milligrams per day. I decided 3.5 months ago to start on a lower dose on 50 milligrams of bicalutamide, which is the dose they use when they use it in conjunction with an ADT treatment, Lupron or Eligard or whatever we have. Because I wanted to see what can I do with that. And to the first month when I was on bicalutamide, I didn't see any changes. My PSA started out at 103, and after a month it was 104, which is just a fluctuation that could cost you too many small things in the daytime. The second month it dropped to 45, which is obviously the lowest it's been in my whole journey. And the third month it dropped to 44. Now, being down these lowest numbers, one number more or less all of a sudden means a lot more than when you were above 100. So that is good. The trajectory is right. It seems that the cancer is androgen receptors dependent. So by blocking it by bicalutamide, it works. So that's where I am right now. I'm only on that. Now, last month I was a little bit nervous about maybe I was doing it the wrong way. Maybe I was just inspiring for mutations, and maybe I should go full on with 150 milligram bicalutamide. As a minimum, maybe I even should go the full on androgen deprivation therapy. But as always, when I do these kind of things, I make a plan when I'm good, I'm happy, I'm content, I don't have pain, I don't have fear. because those decisions are usually a lot more informed and balanced than if you're being pushed and you're feeling hungry, you're feeling pain, you're feeling fear, because then the decisions are driven by factors that has got very little to do with the reality in which you're working. And so as I was starting getting afraid that I was doing the wrong thing, I also consulted the AI to understand how my numbers looks in reference to that. And when I got the last blood work back, the AI said, well, according to your own plan, then you should not be making any changes because your blood numbers looks good. The things are working, the things you're doing. So the criteria for which you actually decided to escalate things are not met. And that's why, as it is right now, I'm continuing 50 milligrams of bicalutamide. Now I have to start out another drug, which I started about 2 weeks ago, and that is tamoxifen. And I did that because I wanted to mitigate the risk of man boobs. Bicalutamide is a drug that causes fermentation of the estrogens or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but what it causes is man boobs. Now I'm not too worried about the aesthetic part of it, but it is accompanied by pain possibly and strains, and I do not want that discomfort. So in order to mitigate that, I am on tamoxifen, a drug normally used for women that is suffering from breast cancer. Of other drugs, then I am on silodocin, but I've been on silodocin now for 5 or 6 months, and that is to ease the muscles around the bladder and the prostate, so that going to the toilet in the nighttime is easier. And I have to say, after starting bicalutamide and silodocin in conjunction, or maybe just because of bicalutamide, I don't know, nighttime visit has become much better. We are usually between 1 and 2 times a night, sometimes no visit at all, and even rarer at more than 2 visits a night, which means I've got my good night's sleep. It means I've got my heart rate variability recovered as well. So things are really looking very good here after more than 3 years. Absolutely. My focus now is to continue the bicalutamide if nothing radically changes on my measurement every month. I do extensive blood work every month, and you can see all the blood work on my website. And if it goes all as planned, then I will evaluate in November, because then I've been on the bicalutamide treatment for 6 months, and I'll be evaluating by making an MRI scan to see if that have had any impact on the cancer in terms of growth. And until then, I will be doing my best to reduce my fat percentage, because one thing that has an impact on the risk of developing man boobs is your fat percentage. Fat percentage between 10 and 15% is considered low risk, 15 to 18% intermediate risk, and over 18% body fat, and you got high risk. And I am sitting right now at 23, between 23 and 24, fluctuating a little bit, but I started out 2 weeks ago focusing on it, and it is at 24 when I started. And I think we were down to 23.3 in average. So although I do actually aim at decreasing the fat percentage with a half percentage every week, so that I'll reach 18% by the end of this bicalutamide period, I am a little bit on the low side on that. But I'm hoping that strength training is going to make a change on it. So that was just to keep you a little bit updated on what I'm doing. And until next time, stay happy and healthy.